Hi, in this video, we're going to continue our MCP journey in Axway Amplify Fusion. And recall, we've been working on an MCP server called My Fusion MCP Server, and it has two tools. We created a get magic number, which really just returned a UDID, and then we created a magic number adder, which added two numbers. So those were kind of like hard-coded, simple responses. In this video, we're going to create a more useful tool, which is going to actually reach out to an API and make an OpenAPI call to the Pet Store API. So recall the Pet Store OpenAPI. We covered this in Hello OpenAPI. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and look at it now. And I'm going to use a connector called Pet Store 3, which uses the OpenAPI URL and makes calls out to the Pet Store API. That succeeded, so that connector is working well. And if I look at the Swagger for OpenAPI, we're going to actually call the pet find pet by status, which finds pet by 3 available statuses: available, pending, and sold. And if I execute that, we can see what the response looks like. And it looks like this. You get an array of pets with a pet name and some other information. So let's build a tool out of that. So what we need to do, if you recall, is we will add a tool, and the name of the tool will follow the same theme, and we'll call this Get Magic Pets by Status. And recall the description needs to be very clear. It actually helps the client who's calling the MCP server know what that tool does. So it gets Magic Pets by Status, and it says the status can be available, pending, or sold. And then we just need a schema. So I just pasted these into my clipboard tool. And this input schema defines an input of an object with the following properties: just one, status, which is of type string, and it's in a num, and it has 3 different values: available, pending, and sold, and it is a required property. So that creates the tool. And what we want to do now is, if you recall, I usually call the linked integration by the same name that the tool is, so get magic pets by status. So now we want to link an integration to this tool. So we click that plus button, create a new integration, paste in that name, and here again we have the scaffolding for our tool. Now, it's worth noting that best practice, much like building API integrations, is to have a service. So have all of the business logic in a service, makes it more portable and easier to update. But in this case, we're just going to add components here like we've done for the last two tools. And I'm going to add an OpenAPI client, the invoke operation, and we are going to invoke the Pet Store OpenAPI connector. The object is pet, and we're going to find pet by status. So there's only one required parameter, it's status, and we're going to get that from the tool's request. And if I scroll down here, if I open that up, I can drag status to status. And now we can just set the output. So the two main things we need to do is set the tool response type, because there are several supported types, and we're going to continue just doing text content. And now let's go to the tool's response and expand the text content, the result. And what we'll do is we will just drag the pet array, which is in this response right here. We'll drag that to text. Click save, and then we are now done. So it's that simple. So this is how we can call an external service. You basically can use any of the Amplify Fusion artifacts in your tool. You can call out to any of these applications. You can use any of these transport connectors, but we're just doing an OpenAPI client call. So let's come back over here. Let's activate the server, and then we'll come back in Postman as we've done before. and connect. And you probably saw it already, but here's the new tool. So before we had these two tools, now we've got another tool here, and we can find pending pets and run that. And here will be the response. And this has not been parsed. So normally if an LLM is calling this or connecting to this MCP server, making the call, it can actually parse this and present it on the screen like Claude Desktop or Visual Studio Code. What we'll do is we'll come in here into a tool to unscape that, and then we'll bring it into a formatter and beautify it. And you can see that we receive, well, let's look at it in this mode. We received 3 pets. I see the name is cat3, category cats. I see dog3 in category dogs. And I see no name in category AN. So in this video, we saw how we could add another tool to our MCP server that accepted an input and then made a call to a backend service or an external service. In this case, we connected to the pet store API. We called the find pet by status. Thank you.